Today, LSU is expected to receive national letters of intent from four-star prospects Mwani Wilkinson, a small forward from Bishop Gorman High School in Las Vegas, Eric Gaines, a point guard from Lithonia, Georgia, and also expected in the class is 6'9" forward Shareef O'Neal, who's the son of basketball great Shaquille O'Neal. He's also a transfer from UCLA. LSU's recruiting class currently is ranked number 5 in the country, according to 247 Sports, and is behind number 1 ranked Kentucky and number 4 Tennessee as schools compared in the Southeastern Conference.
Let's go. We'll wait. Getting the job done. LSU basketball still going to be very good once basketball resumes.
UFC President Dana White has promised that his company will be the first major sports organization to return to a normal schedule amid the coronavirus pandemic, and he's already planning his next event for May 9th. At a location to be determined. White told ESPN on Tuesday that he is deep in the process of building out the card despite the recent postponement of UFC 249, a pay-per-view event that's going to be scheduled for this Saturday. That was scheduled for this Saturday.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to the private island. Location to be determined. I was so excited for the Mortal Kombat setup come to life. I don't know. I mean, Dana White knows how to get headlines. He's a showman. I'm starting to feel a bit duped about this island. I feel like it was a way of generating buzz. We haven't heard anything about it since. I hope that this fight takes place on the private island, or I will be sorely disappointed. It is good to hear, though, that the UFC is coming back. They're not the only ones that are looking like they may be coming back.
On Tuesday, President Donald Trump announced a major league sports-related next step, the formation of a Reopen America advisory committee that will include Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban, Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones, the commissioner of the National Football League, Roger Goodell, NBA's commissioner, Adam Silver, Rob Manfred from Major League Baseball, and other commissioners from joining sports, including UFC's Dana White. Big emphasis is to get sports back into the mainstream and get the economy back rolling.
I guess also what I was setting you up there for is that the PGA Tour is set to announce a June restart. Now, the PGA has not confirmed this, but these are what sources are saying. The plan right now is to resume June 11th through 14th. It'll be the Charles Schwab Challenge. And they say if they can have fans, they'll do fans, but they're thinking along the lines of doing these things fanless, and that the most important thing is to get them on TV. They are also planning a major, the PGA Championship, for August 6th through 9th in San Francisco with or without fans. So between the UFC, between the PGA, all right, we got a little glimmer, little sports creeping back in, or at least about to be.
College football, Tommy Moffitt was on LSU 60 earlier this week when he was talking about getting his football team ready to play a fall schedule. How long would that take Coach Moffitt and his strength staff to get LSU football ready to play a season?
You know, I've talked to Coach O about it, and I've talked to Shelley and Scott Woodward and Burge, and so we've all talked about it. And, you know, we would need at least a month, I think, to prepare them for training camp.
Joe Burrow was with Off the Bench yesterday when he was talking about this part of the process, the pre-draft process, and how quirky it's been for the number 1 pick.
You know, the draft is funny because you don't have, not a lot of professions pick you to, engineers don't get drafted to certain companies. So that's kind of peculiar in, the capitalistic ways of the United States. But that's how it is. And the teams that have the worst year pick at the top, and that's why they're there. Whatever team I go to, it's going to be a challenge to begin, and I'm going to have to, persevere through it, and just like I've done in the past. And, you might have a really good first year. You might have a really bad first year. You don't really know, especially without OTAs this year. And you're going to have less time with your team. So there's going to be ups and downs for sure. You're just going to have to battle through it.
Man.
If you missed that entire interview, you can catch it online at 1045ESPN.com, or you can also check the Off the Bench YouTube page. Once you get there, make sure and subscribe when you get to OTB's YouTube page.
Yeah, a few different ways that you could take that yesterday. I think, yes, that was kind of just acknowledging the situation. He's going to go to a Cincinnati franchise that has struggled. We talked about this in the Hold That podcast yesterday with me and Brody. I also thought it was some unique insight or just some interesting, maybe, I don't know, vulnerability, maybe just openness is the right word into Burrow along like some of the pressure, what it would be like to be an actual first overall pick, especially one like Joe Burrow with the year that he just had, right? He had a year that was unmatched. He had a year that it was almost like he was playing with the cheat code. The thing is, when he goes to Cincinnati, though, he will not have the talent around him that he had at LSU, like relative to his opponents. They were better than almost everyone just from a talent perspective that they lined up against last season. Can Joe Burrow still be the Burrow that you saw this last year on a more even playing field? In fact, a lot of times probably playing from behind when you look at a Cincinnati roster that's just not that strong.
Well,
I guess what I'm saying is it's interesting to think about the pressure that Joe Burrow's success has now put on him stepping into that Cincinnati first overall pick.
Some more college football news. Nick Saban, head coach of Alabama, stopped by First Take on ESPN yesterday, and he talked about the process of what it would look like to start testing the players.
But I do think, if we come up with some solutions, we'll be able to manage smaller groups. Like, for instance, we could test all of our players, and then we could have some protocol for every day that they come in the building as to whether they're healthy or going to infect somebody else.
That ideally testing, like, information's good to have. Information's power. You want to know who has what. The thing that I've not heard yet is how you deal with a false negative, right? Where you test them and it comes back okay, but they're actually carrying, and then they go on to create their own little hotspot with everybody they interact with.
Nick Saban, more on First Take, talking about getting the season started on time.
We got a lot of smart people out there. They all have, player safety, player well-being, the best interests of the players in mind, just like we do in our program. So we don't want to ever put them in harm's way, but I think, there has to be some plan at some point in time to try to get people back to normal.
Head coach Nick Saban from the Alabama Crimson Tide yesterday on ESPN's First Take, commenting about college football getting back on schedule.